Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Travis Told You here on Friday, March 27th. My goodness. Yes, it's good to be back. It's been a minute since Travis Told You. Oh, did I unplug? No? Okay. Been a minute since Travis Told You. I apologize. I said, there'll be one on Sunday, Monday. Kids are on spring break. It's been a little hectic in a good way, but just trying to plan it. And right now, they're preoccupied, they're busy. That's why even today I said, it's going to be 3 p.m. I posted that only like 20 minutes ago. I'm going a little bit earlier because that's just the way I am. I'm taking advantage of the time we got right now, talk about a few things. And yeah, so there you go. Weird Friday one? Sure. I don't think that's really going to happen much. But yeah, it's good to be here. And yeah, today usually I say, hey, patrons, only patrons and people that are, super chats or patrons, send in questions. Friday, have some fun. I'm on a no time limit right now. Kids are preoccupied doing some stuff with the grandma and whatnot, so that's a good thing. But yeah, no, it's been a very fun time. Obviously, they've been on spring breaks for the 2 weeks. Today, we're talking, I'll get back to personal life in a second. Today, we're talking about Star Fox. Man, I definitely was jealous. And the reason I'm doing this now is because I still plan on doing 2 episodes next week. I'm going to do one on the Monday, so drop the Monday afternoon, and then we'll see when the other one is. It might there might just be one episode next week because we got tons of stuff. Obviously, Taylor mentioned they did the Punisher Season 2 Retro. Soon those will all be coming out 5 weeks before the Punisher Retro. All the patrons will get those from Phase 2 and up, but right now all the producers have those. But next week is Dylan's got a good side quest. We got Daredevil, Super Mario Bros. And the newscast. We'll see. I'm going to actually just say right now there's going to be one episode because I don't want to get in the way of any of those episodes. And they're big ones, like obviously like there's a newscast, but even that's going to come out on the Monday. Patrons, you're going to get that early. The Mario review is just going to ride. We're going to talk about that in a little bit here. Yeah, so I think just one episode, but I'm sorry I didn't get the finals. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the Star Fox news, the movie news, the game rumors very quickly, because Dylan might touch on side quest, but very quickly, the voice, my goodness. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, because next newscast, that'll be like a week from now, so there'll be tons of new other news. And then finally, what I've been meaning to get to, the finals of the Best Actor March Madness tournament are here. I am sorry that it took a little bit longer than I thought, but hey, we're still in March, right? We're still in March. S-Bub says, I am not live on YouTube. The bastards. Where am I? It still says unlisted, motherfuckers. That's why S-Bubs is the guy in the chair. I thought I had changed it. Thank you very much, S-Bubs. It should be going soon here. Getting rid of my starting soon here, and let me thank the man in the chair. Goddamn technology, and then I'm sending it in all caps. I almost sent it in all caps, S-Bubs, but yeah, I just thought I'd change it. StreamYard, they got a new logo. I'm not saying the logo is what did it, but as we talked about, they change a bunch of stuff, but I'm not going to get in that. It's a fun time. It's Friday. Hope everyone is doing well. The weekend is upon us, and then Easter weekend's coming up as well. Got a couple days off there. I think I got the Monday and Friday off with my job, so that's good. So I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone is doing a good weekend plans. I don't know. Of course, again, always. Every Travis Told You. Taylor messages me. Nothing about and nothing too serious. What is he talking about? No, I don't agree with him there. Taylor, if you're listening, he's talking about Wario Waluigi. I'll answer him later. But he's always, so check that as the thing that always happens. But yeah, talking that stuff today. What else we got going on? Yeah, next week, tons of stuff. I got to do a big thank you to everybody. The whole crew will talk about this month been very big for us, like downloads and listeners wise, and that's why we've talked about this is going to be a big year, right? But there's been times where big years, they don't always pan out. I think like 2023 we had a lot of big stuff, and it didn't have like the impact we thought 2022 and 2021 like it would have had. But this month already, like, to put in perspective, for our stats, this month is bigger than every month we had in 2025, which is great, or 2024. 2025 was climbing again, but no, obviously it's definitely because of stuff like Spider-Man trailer, Dune trailer, Daredevil's back, right? But at the same time, we've had that before where people don't come out or they don't spread it, or even just a couple weeks ago, Matthew Fletcher gave us a very nice pause. Matthew, if you're listening, very kind review on our project Hail Mary one, and that did very well in the feeds too, like stuff like that, which was also crazy. This is why people. They asked why we do the cutouts. Last newscast, me and Kirkland, my favorite weekly geek we've maybe ever done. We did 240. We do obviously the main topic, and then we do the cutouts, right? So if people just want to listen to that topic, boom, they click on it. We've never had this happen before. The Dune trailer is actually our biggest. The Dune trailer cutout, which is only 17 minutes, is our biggest episode of this month. The cutouts never. I think there's been a couple cutouts like in the top, but for the cutout to be the top there, obviously that's Dune. But again, that's why we do them, and also just like it shows the enthusiasm there, and hopefully people enjoyed that stuff. So no, a big thank you to everyone, old, new, whenever you start listening, if you're listening right now, big thank you, because March has been good, and that gives us lots of motivation, excitement for the rest of the year, because it's a big year. There's lots of stuff coming up, man. It's gonna be a good time. So yeah, Monday, I'm going to talk about box office because I want to talk about Project Hail Mary a little bit more, and then Ryan Gosling, we're going with the Daniel, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to talk about some MCU rumors going on that are, I don't even know what the rumors. Chris Evans saying some stuff he shouldn't be saying, but I don't think he cares. He goes from, I'm not really back to Marvel to like, yeah, I'm in this project. Okay, cool. And then some more stuff on the City Sink is looking more, we got some more hints and some heavier rumors of what that lady is doing. So we'll find out then. But yeah, so today, Star Fox, man, fuck yeah. If you go back a couple episodes ago, we re-released both our Mario retro for the very first movie, and then our review of the I guess I should say the live action one, and then the animated one. We obviously reviewed that, and if you were to listen to that, because we re-release these, because unless you're on Patreon gets you every episode ad free and gets you I'd say about 90% of the catalog. There's maybe a couple episodes lost, but everything in there you just search. Granted, Patreon's search engine's not the greatest find, so if you can't find an episode, hit me up. I've had to help a couple people find episodes, so let me know. But obviously in the main feeds, it's not there, so we like to re-release stuff in case people are new. Then, if you can't support us on Patreon, completely get that. That is the best place because all those funds go to us and we make more shows, more content. Go join the Discord. I just did a bunch of announcements for the next after nights. We have 3 themed after nights coming up. We got a movie club night in April. We got a movie night in May, and then games night in June. There's going to be some really fun stuff. So go to Patreon and find out how you can be a part of all those. Join us and other listeners. But obviously, if people were to listen that lately, or if you just remember, I was not the biggest fan of the Mario movie. It's nothing that's like sacrilege, but for me, it was cutscene the movie. Now, granted, I know a lot of people, and what were you expecting from a Mario movie? Okay, sure. I'll give you that. Granted, yes. Like the Mario stories aren't that in depth, right? So that's the thing where I get it. Maybe I set myself up, but I thought with those trailers, I felt they were going to try and hit us in the middle, and I probably should have known, right? It's Illumination. I should have known what I was getting myself into, but still. I thought we were maybe with those shows going to find like a Pixar-esque for kids and adults. And don't get me wrong, if you listen to that review, I think those guys all were, I'm going to say at least an 8 or higher on that movie, right? I think there was a couple 10s. Like, I think they loved it. And I was like, I felt like the stick in the mud in that review, right? And I felt like it's going to be the stick in the mud in this review. At least always I have fun with the girls. So that's a good time. They're very hyped. We've been talking about which characters could be in there and everything. So that's a good time. But I've been like, okay, I'm just going to, one, obviously, part of the job, but 2, just going because gonna have a good time with the girls, right? We're gonna see Hoppers on Sunday. That's gonna be the last thing we do in spring break, so I'm excited to finally cross that off the list. But the anticipation for Mario was very lukewarm, right? Now, granted, this is just one character. He could be in a few minutes of the movie. That's okay. Because I don't know. I guess maybe this would be a fun side quest or bread and butter ranking. We've ranked characters before, but Nintendo characters or video game characters, I don't know. But Star Fox is a game that I talked about on side quest just this last week. But multiple times in my life, I have spammed, whether it's the 64 or the GameCube. 64 was just Star Fox 64. I feel like I played through that game hundreds of times, right? It's a shooter on the rails. You're just going planet to planet, killing monsters, other ships. Don't think it was like the longest game ever. So as a kid, when you're not buying your own games, you just play things over and over. I remember there's also some things where if you go a certain path, there's like certain secret levels or something like that. As a kid, right? That's mind-blowing stuff. So it's a great time. And then Star Fox Adventures, go to the last side quest. I just praise that high heaven. One of my favorite gaming experiences of all time. Star Fox's ship gets hit, he crashes, and you're playing with him outside the ship. My God. So Fox McCloud is one of my guys, right? He's definitely on my excuse me, my like Nintendo Mount Rushmore. I don't know about like gaming Mount Rushmore, but I think like if I was to have a top 10 gaming characters, because yeah, even gaming Rushmore, that'd be tough. I can't even tell you. I'm not even saying he's not on there. I just don't know what he would be, right? But anyway, so the poster came out. I'm whispering because I don't want the girls to hear me because they're in the living room there. They don't know because I was gonna show them. And obviously that announcement came out, and I agree with Maddie to a point, but I guess this helps because it got my hype going. But it was like, hey, why would they show this? Because people are already seeing this, right? Save it for the movie. And don't get me wrong, we still could have these same conversation and hype situations for myself next week. Yes, but it's already happening, and it's one of those things where it's like, it's nice to know it's pretty much this is locked up, right? And now it's just like the floodgates of Star Fox scoopers have come around, right? So I get it, but hey, maybe they sold a couple extra tickets. I don't know. And on obviously go check out let's see, David, and I see in chat, sir. Star Fox 64 is a staple for me. First time learning a barrel. Absolutely, man. That was many hours, many joysticks, many missions completed. Yeah, that I feel like for our generation that has a big touchstone, right? So that's why for me he's definitely, I'll say, in the top 10. And just the Fox, the lore, the legends, the other characters. Wolf, I fucking love Wolf, man. So for me it's like, okay, this has got me excited because I'm hoping that, and I think next week we'll talk more about after the Mario movie. I'm hoping one of these movies, and even if it's Mario 2, but I'm hoping one of these movies will not just be like a cutscene movie, and maybe they all will be, right? And I think I think what I'm going to know is if I get Mario 2 and it's a similar quality to Mario 1, and then if I get Donkey Kong at similar quality, to me, if I have 3 in a row of these type of movies, which they're fine, they're like fine 6 out of 10s, right? That's the way I'd put it. They're fun junk food movies. If that's the case, then I know what I'm getting. Obviously, we all want to lead up to Smash. Check out the newscast last night. I've halfway through it. It was very fun one with Dylan Taylor. They talked about a bunch of stuff more in depth. They didn't have this information. I don't even know who they picked for their choices, but so this happened, right? And I thought, and now the scoopers are out there, but I thought, okay, the reason I was getting excited because he's got a redesign, he's got a poster. Obviously, he's not been in any trailers. I guess now we know his thigh was that. It wasn't Toad's backpack. It was his thigh. He hasn't been in any trailers, but it felt like the same type of role that Donkey Kong got, right? And me and Dylan talked about some side quests where I just thought Star Fox was kind of dead and dormant. I thought there's many other roles or other characters or franchises that would be propped up and get even a spin-off, right? Like I thought Kirby would be in there first. I thought something Animal Crossing. Like, I love that they're, because those to me, it's like the reverse of that is, and I think what they could be doing is those franchises are already big. Let's keep rolling the big ones and let's resurrect some of these, right? Donkey Kong was in the movie, big highlight. Of course, I got the fucking hiccups. Big highlight game. Bonanza sold well, great game. If we could do that same 1-2 punch with Star Fox, you're revitalizing some of those brands. And like Zelda, the same thing. You don't need them revitalized or her revitalized or just that franchise, right? Because the games have been sold, reviewed very well. Movie's going to come out next year. I have faith in Westball to at least deliver. I want to say an 8. I'm going to say a 7.5. But I do think that Zelda, that movie, has like huge potential to be, if you do it right, and that's not an easy task. Not at all. Any movie, if you do it right, is not an easy task. Doing Zelda right is not an easy task. But it has the chance to be like a Golden Geeks movie of the year, like top 5 box office. Like, it could be huge and really special. It could be, to me, a la Fellowship of the Ring, right? Harry Potter, Philosopher's Stone, those movies. Like, it could be that for an entire generation. So we'll see. But again, if that movie sucks or bombs, well, they just animate Link and then he's in Smash Bros. Movie, right? But so this happened, and we are all talking about in the Discord, okay, who's going to voice them? And I thought they're going to wait till the movie. And then today they dropped some sort of theater ad where, and obviously I had seen the news before, but then watched the ad, and that's the thumbnail, where there's a bunch of posters, someone's jumping around, hidden blocks, hidden posters, and then they stop, and it's fucking Glen Powell, turns around, has the jacket on, the whole outfit, then says Fox McCloud. And man, that is great, because my biggest fear, and this is where I'm trying to be positive and remain hopeful, right? My biggest fear was, and this is writing as well, but my biggest fear was what they did with Across the Spider-Verse with Andy Samberg as Ben Reilly. He did what he was hired well. My problem was I did not want that for Ben Reilly. I did not want the silly, cheesy badass. Like, I want a badass. And you know what's perfect is Glen Powell can be a badass, but then also flex the comedy gear. So, and like to me, when that happened, he's also Top Gun adjacent, right? That was like perfect. Like I was trying to think of certain people and I hadn't narrowed it down yet. I was waiting because I was going to try and get it before the cast, but I was like, okay, who could it be? And I was also trying to think of the level of star, right? And that's a good thing now with Glen Powell. That also tells me, okay, I thought with Glenn, the redesign, him in a poster, then Glen Powell, he's definitely getting a movie. Now we're going to talk about that in a second, how there is rumors of these things, but Glen Powell, I think, is the perfect pick. I think it's, it's a fine thing because I saw some people like, I don't know, it's a lot to unpack, but I guess it's the death of his movie star career. It's like, he's just doing a fucking voice of Mario, right? And at the end of the day, it's like, you could argue his movie star career is dead. Now here's the thing. He did Running Man and How to Make a Killing. Those didn't perform well for him, right? Obviously, you had Twisters, and then you had Anyone But You, and then he was in Top Gun, but that was adjacent because the hit's not on him, right? I think just how Sweeney proved a little bit ago with Housemaid, she had a bunch of bombs, and Housemaid comes out, $400 million, they're making a sequel this fall. I think Glen Powell's still in the situation where he can be a star, but I think, like we've talked about many times, just the movie star thing is done. Someone that's going to automatically open every movie? No, especially too when they're in a lot of movies, right? So it's a situation of, okay, if Glen Powell is in, take How to Make a Killing, right? What did that even make? How to Make a Killing. And I do want to watch it. It's him and Quality. Let me take a look. I've heard like nothing. I've met no one's that's seen this movie. Let's see. Oof, still. Budget $50 million, box office $11 million, right? So yeah, it's a bomb. They lost money on that movie, right? My point of view is how much money does that movie make without Glen Powell, right? So stars can add to, like we've talked about with characters, IP, directors. You make that with someone else, it can make like $5 million, right? So but at that point too, it's like this is an easy gig. I don't think this is what's going to impact his box office starness, right? And so some people are like, he sold out or something like that. I don't really care in this sort of sense. Is this art? No. Sure. If you're trying to present yourself in that fashion, yeah, maybe it's not a Leo or Tom Cruise move, but like, hey, I think Glen Powell's trying to do things he likes, right? As I've said, as a kid, I remember watching those Nintendo dev videos of Star Fox Zero gameplay and was hyped for it to release, and then I got the game and I don't remember anything about it. I think I remember on the E3 showcase, and I would watch it a bunch of times. Yeah, I don't know if you remember, I suppose that was the infamous Puppet E3 Direct as well, which was kind of panned. Yeah, Zero was a game that came out, and it was very mediocre. I think that's probably why you don't remember it. And that's what we all kind of thought that, oh man, Star Fox as a brand is kind of over with. That kind of felt like that could be the moment it brought back, and then it didn't. But like, when was that though, too? Because that's so from this. Let's see, 10 years. Yeah, Star Fox Zero has been 10 years. So that's what also came out today was, okay, that's happening. And then the rumor is now that they are supposedly, and I won't dive deep in this because Dylan might talk about side quest, but one rumor, fucking Ocarina of Time remake coming in the holiday season. Chills right there. That's going to be a good time. You remember the Puppet E3? Didn't remember it was that year. Yeah, I don't know if it was the same year, the year before. I suppose the year. So the game came out 2026. The Puppet E3, funny enough, that's where we can all go back to Star Fox. That was the first E3. That was in 2015, and we talked about this on the GV 10 year. That's probably what started Geek First. Is we already had group chat, but that conference was so bad. We talked about other things, but that conference was so bad. We were memeing back then and having a good time laughing. And I think because we just had a chat talking about for hours, but we should do a podcast. So honestly, Star Fox and the Puppet E3 demo could be linked to the origins of Geek First. It's pretty funny now when I think about it in that sense. So yeah, Puppet E3 is 2015, and then the game comes out 2016. And then I think it was delayed a bunch of times. So that's why you probably saw in different E3s. But yeah, the Puppet E3 retro. We should. We should. That you know what? Maybe I'll put that on the GV. Maybe the GV day for this year, 11 year. I think that'd be a good one because we're trying to find some different events. So that's a good idea. Hang on. Let me write that down so I don't forget GV day because that would be a good watch along to kind of go all the way back. Let's see. Where's my events page? I don't have an events page. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Let's see. E3 Puppet Retro. That's a good idea. I'm not guaranteeing it because maybe we do like a side quest episode as well. But yeah, that'd be a fun one to talk about. Or even just like, I guess we wouldn't do this spend the whole time. I've wanted to, and I haven't pitched it to the boys. I've wanted to do a whole E3 retro, like starting from the very beginning, us reacting and listening to some stuff. I don't know what it would do, but I think there'd be some fun things to see. Oh, look what happened back then. But anyways, so Ocarina of Time remake, that's great. And then rumor that there's a Star Fox game coming out this summer, which is crazy. To me, it would be like, oh, the announcement's coming this summer. For it to be coming this summer is, I would have felt like we would have heard something by now, right? So that's where it's like, I'm 70% on this because I think the guy has a good track record who leaked this out there. It's just I don't want to get fully locked in. I'm still fine. To me, the writing's on the wall for development, right? But that's where it's like, for it to be the summer, wow. I will buy this. Hopefully it's not a complete piece of shit game. I'll buy this because I do want Star Fox Adventure. I want the brand to keep going. I don't want always just on the rail stuff. I am curious how that game, because me and Dylan talked about, like, can they just put that out? Like, is that gonna, as a full price game, work for non-diehards? I don't know, right? But you got that, and then it was reported by two scoopers, one the C tier, one the B tier, that the movie is in development, and obviously animation that could take a while, but that's fucking great, man. That's awesome, and that's the other thing too. When we talk about the Smash Bros. Movie, that's the thing where, like, there's all these other characters, right? Like Snake and Ken and Richter and Sonic. A lot of these characters, as talking about the girls, a lot of these characters you probably can't use. Maybe they can make some deals, right? Maybe they can work out something with Sonic, but even then, it's not for sure. So why? And maybe that's something they don't even want to do, right? Maybe they go, you know what? For the games, we get that because you can only play these characters so many times. Maybe it's something they do for the sequel, right? It's like, okay, let's say it's the Mario characters we met: Donkey Kong, Star Fox, Link, and let's just say Kirby, right? Let's just say that's the roster, our Avengers, right? For Smash, it's them fighting and fighting Master Glove. Let's say it's that. Movie's a hit, then it's like, okay, each movie, let's add a character or two. Instead of a game where it's like, well, people play this game religiously for years and they want new characters. For the first one, I think it's great to like prop up the Nintendo characters, build them back up, and then, oh, Star Fox being in there is a big deal because he has a game out. He's got a movie, right? Like, invest in your own IP so then you don't, or even then you can wait for a Kirby or whatever character to bring in the Smash Bros. 2 if you want, right? Like, there's so much potential there, and I think this is very smart. So the fact that it's doing, the fact that it's doing star actor characters being brought back, very similar to what we've heard about Sephiroth and Donkey Kong. Games coming, movie, that's great. And I think the movie, that's like a good flair, like Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, and now Star Fox. And honestly, it's hard not to argue them as the Mount Rushmore. Obviously, I have some rose-tinted glasses because in the past, right? So like, someone might make the case of this last 10 years, Star Fox has been nowhere to see, right? But if you're taking in Nintendo as a whole, Star Fox, and just like one character from each brand, Link, Star Fox, Mario, and Donkey Kong, I could say that's easily the Mount Rushmore, right? So let's see. Espa says, I think if it's even not, I think if it's even not the best off Mario hype, it could do good sales if Fox is popular in the Mario movie. I do agree. I think it will do well. And he says that's what the whole Fire Emblem roster is for. Yeah, exactly, right? Like, my comparison there. So, no, I think it will, and I think it'll be a smaller game. I hope it's not like a full price game if it is smaller, and that will help because we talked about this many times. Each time a Mario movie comes out, there's no game. Even the Donkey Kong movie comes out, there's going to be no game. It's stuff that you sell the old games, and then it'll drop the price, so they still get the money, but that surge of like, I need a new game, and here's a pairing, Star Fox could do that, right? So, I love this. This is great news. And again, good variety, right? Of Mario, Mushroom Kingdom, lots of weird, I don't even know what to describe, but just an adventure one, right? Donkey Kong's similar to an adventure, but I could say it's a spin-off and it's a different ilk and going to be hopefully a different vibe and comedy, right? And then you got Zelda, which is a medieval magic, and then Star Fox, space and lasers and cockpit fighting and jet fighting and Top Gun vibes. Fantastic, right? So I'm all for this. Glen Powell to me is the perfect choice. And I honestly didn't know if he could do it because I was thinking somebody like wouldn't be that as big of a star as that. Because other than like Chris Pratt, definitely big star. Jack Black, definitely big star. Anya Taylor-Joy, yeah, I think so, but not like, I don't think she's on their level. Keegan-Michael Key, no. Charlie Day, no. Donald Glover in some circles, yes, but I wouldn't say he's a big movie star, right? He's just a big star in general. So Yeah, no, I'm very excited by this. This got me super jazzed. I cannot wait because Gwen said two of the people she wants is either Kirby or Star Fox in Smash. I can't wait. Ellie picked Sonic, unfortunately for her, and I explained that that won't be happening for a bit. And then Logan picked Duck Hunt. So yeah, I cannot wait for the review now. I'm just there for Star Fox, and I hope like what Estes was saying there, um, with the good sales. I don't know how much he's in there. I imagine it's gonna be smaller, but I would hope, I would love it, and I don't think it's even this size of role. I would love him to be like what Donkey Kong was last time, actually, because I feel like a lot of people love Donkey Kong that didn't before. I'm always a DK kid, so I'm part of the crew. Uh, um, what Donkey Kong happen to Mario? I hope it's that, or I hope it is similar to like Spider Punk or Spider Noir, like or Spider Ham even breaks out where people really want to see them. I suppose says, do you think we'll see any other non-major Mario characters in this movie, even as cameos like Olmar, Samus? I've seen people speculate with the whole galaxy and space theme. Yeah, it's tough. I feel like Olmar kind of has to like. I'm not saying it has to happen. Or like if he's not in there, it's a bad score. They already have the Pikmin in there, right? And you never know as far as like is Olmar in there as a character or is he in there just like in the background or doing something, right? And I know people said Samus before, and that is the rumor. There was some, I think, C tier scooper that said like, oh, someone said like, oh, I guess that was a surprise, and someone just said in all caps, that's not the surprise. So, and they will do something. What Taylor showed me was also, I know it's not the same Espos, but I'll get there, of Charlie Day and Chris Pratt doing a yes no game on Jimmy Fallon's show, and they brought up Wario and Waluigi, and they just like kind of plead the fifth. They said yes and no, like they were being funny about it. These characters could pop up in end credit. I've always said they could be that. The Omar could. Samus. It's funny because we talk about this on SideQuest a lot and in the Discord. That game came out because when was it? December, right? Metroid Beyond. That came out, yeah, 2025 December. That game. Oh yeah. Those cracks. Come on, one more. Oh yeah. Isn't that the best when you crack your one side of the neck and then you crack the other and then it moves it and you can feel another crack coming? Not sure if that's healthy, but I digress. I was gonna say no to Samus because I was gonna say, do you want to? Yeah, to me that's a lock for me. At least Wario, right? Because Waluigi does get the shift sometimes. Like he's not even fucking Smash, right? But Wario, I do think is the post grad. I think he's a perfect third villain. And then you do the movie, they team up in Smash, right? But for non-Mario characters, I'm a Mario guy, not a Mario. For non-Mario characters, I think Samus actually could be in there. At first, I was like, do you want to do Fox and that? But again, they could literally be the same way. Like, look at the trajectory of fucking Zack's DC movies, right? Superman. I got the Ray Fisher cyborg voice crack. Superman, Batman and Superman, Justice League. That could literally be their plan, right? And even that quote you shared, I suppose, right, from 2024 of Chris Pratt saying it's gonna like expand the Nintendo Cinematic Universe. That could be their plan. Like, fuck it, let's just do a Smash Bros. Because they got the roster. Like, even if it's just the Smash, even if it's just Mario with some other characters. Because what you have, Mario, Luigi, Toad, Yoshi, Peach, Rosalina, and that's like I think that's everyone right there. So that's you got 6 right there, right? And then you got Donkey Kong, that's 7, but you can easily go Donkey Kong, Diddy, and Dixie. We're at 9. And then let's say you get Fox, okay? If you want to include anyone else from Fox, that's potential 4 of them, right? Let's just say it's like the game and it's Fox and Falco, right? So let's say we're at 11 now. And then you get Allmar, because I think Pikmin, that's in there, Rob, and if Samus or someone else, right? Or even the post credit, maybe they introduce Waluigi and Wario. Maybe they're like the Loki. Maybe they are the bad guys that Smash with like Master Glove like behind, right? Yeah, the goat Slippy. Like you could have the whole crew in there, right? Star Fox crew. I think they're called the Embassy crew. What is Star Fox's crew's name? Star Fox crew name. They have a cool bad. What is it? Let's see. Do they not have a team name? What the fuck? I thought they had like a team name. It's just a Star Fox team. And they talk about where they're from. I thought there was a team. I don't know. Who knows? But anyways, and what I was trying to get back to is with that game coming out in December, even though it didn't really make much of a splash, I feel like they wanted, It did come out, and that could have been the idea of, well, it's going to come out. We got a Samus game, get Samus in there. So I feel like for Almar, I'm a 90%. There's always a chance that Pikmin are like leading to him, but I'm at 90% Almar. Samus, I'm a 50-50. I don't think any of them have massive roles, but Samus, I'm a 50-50. Don't get wrong, it would be cool and would pop the crowd. Again, they could easily do that because then what? They have Almar, they had Samus. We already got to like close to 15, and that's it. You wouldn't even have to do it. And even if you got Wario and Waluigi and they do like a baby face turn, right? There's 16, 17. Like, that's a lot of characters. And obviously, not all of them, like Toad, Yoshi, have big speaking lines or roles. But still, if you want to make it a cinematic event, and then Link and stuff. Don't even talk about them, right? Like, whether it is just their own Link or they just say, hey, this is the same Link, but he's animated. Whatever they. Oh my God. I, oh, fuck. Oh man. I try not. I have my phone on for notifications in case there's news that breaks, right? I'm not gonna say my friend's name live on air. I just got a text saying, man, my ex named their kid my name. So I have a friend. Let's say their name is Samus. Broke up with this person many years ago. Years later, they bump into this person or someone bumps into them and they get the information. Oh, this is my kid. Name them Samus. That's fucked up, man. Oh man, I feel like I might be getting sick with those coughs, but oh brother, I gotta confirm that. I always not just let me confirm. Let's see. I'm gonna put 100% question mark. We're gonna get live updated on air. Jesus Christ. As Pops, to me, Brie Larson would be a good fan cast for Samus, but with her being Rosalina, I don't know who I'd pick for Samus. Yeah, that's a tough thing, right? And Samus is one of those two. I'd be completely fine if they beat James Gunn to the two versions of a character, right? If they said, hey, Sony is doing their live action Zelda, because Zelda and Link, they have all these fucking weird timelines and everything. I don't even know half them, right? If they were to say, hey, that's its own separate thing, Link and Zelda and Smash Bros, they're their own separate thing, that's fine. Kids aren't going to fucking care, and I'm not going to care, right? So if they even said that, where, hey, she's voicing Rosalina and Samus, like live action, if we're going to do that, that will be Brie Larson, that's fine. And she's a perfect casting thing for it, right? I could do that because I think, like, Metroid, there's parts of it with those big creatures like a Ridley and stuff. There's parts of it where you go, you know what, animation wise could be cheaper, right? But out of all the franchises, like, let me just look at Mario franchises. Let me just bring them up. Just see, like, Zelda's always made the one where we talked about before. Is it live action or is it animated, right? Oh, I put Mario franchises. Fuck. Nintendo franchises. Let's see. Okay, so Super Mario, obviously animated. What is it? Zelda, they're doing anime or live action, but you could do both. Pokemon, they've done both. I feel like if they do that again, it would be better to do animation, in my opinion. Animal Crossing, definitely animation. They can make $1 billion. That Fire Emblem is definitely one you could do live action. So that's one for sure. Kirby, you got to keep that animated. You can't have fucking that thing going on. Splatoon, we're not getting Splatoon anytime soon. Metroid, I think that could be live action. And Wario, no. Yoshi, no. Donkey Kong, no. Star Fox, no. Like, there could have been a thing. Kid Icarus, I guess, but like, they really gonna do Pit? Like, I think that's further down the line. F-Zero and Earthbound, maybe you could. But I don't think so. Then Golden Sun, which I just learned about. But let's see here. But yeah, yeah. That's I think. I was waiting for an update from my friend, but I don't got the update yet. So, what else we got here on this grand day? Oh yeah, and then just the sun sort of stuff. Yes, like I said, we're gonna be talking about some of the rumors. MCU rumors on Monday and box office, so that'll be good. And then some of the stuff that came out yesterday was the Lord of the Rings news and the Hobbit trailer or the Harry Potter trailer. I'm not going to go full depth because they did that. And we might talk about next week because I want to get Kirkland's thoughts as well when we do our news catch up. But yeah, I think the Harry Potter stuff, I agree with most people that it looks like a darker take already. And that is weird because, like, the idea was, hey, the movies had where they got darker and darker. Maybe the show's like, hey, we just want to start that way. that's fine with me as far as its content wise. For the actual look of it, I hate, like, not hate. I think that happens a lot, right? Where it's famous trailer, whatnot comes out, let's color grade it shit and turn this. I in general do like it when it's a some, not everything, but a bit of the warmer side when it comes to some of these franchises. And yeah, there's especially one color grade that's going around where it's like this show actively looks better like this. Maybe they could change that. I don't know. We are in the era of lots of darks and lots of dark grays and blues and blacks and everything. So I know black's already dark, but you know what I mean. So that's the only thing. But as far as, and clearly they're still working on the magical effects, right? Because there's barely any of that going on. But everyone looks well enough cast. Like Haggard voice was definitely a choice. Yeah, I think it's, again, what I've stand by. I think it's going to be massive. I think them getting out by Snyder was the blueprint. Yeah. That I'm not gonna say star that was definitely like a big shift as far as that. But then like the MC also shifted, right? Because they had those like the very gray, just monotone colors, right? So a lot of movies don't look the greatest nowadays, right? That's one of my favorite portions of when we do our GV films is filming and getting the editing bay and doing the color correction. I love that. I'm never, there may be a scene in a movie, but our movies plan to be bright, So Mike asked if I'm watching New Invincible. No, I'm behind because it obviously dropped through. So I will be, and maybe I'll talk about it in the future. I will be next week because I'll be back to work. But yeah, they dropped the 3, and then I was on spring break with this girls this week. So I don't know. I heard that episode, this 4th one, Mike, let me know. I heard people didn't really enjoy it, and that I saw it was like the lowest on IMDb. So obviously not a not a great start. But no, I'll watch it. I very much love Invincible. I don't know most of the stuff that happens in there. But yeah, I've really enjoyed Invincible. I don't think they've ever reached the heights of that first season, but I definitely will. But no in like big review way, obviously. But we can talk about here or what we've been watching. But I will check up on that. But yeah, so the Potter trailer to me is still just going to be massive, right? And even me and the girls, we watch it, and that's the thing, right? It's so tough because like with the JK stuff, right? And that's going to be a thing that's always coming down as far as morals, right? Um, as I've said before, you got to try to do the separate the art and the artist, and you got to pick and choose. And the line is there's a lot of other people working on this. And again, there's a lot of other things that we all watch or consume that come from terrible people. And it's like, well, if you do that line, there's almost nothing you could watch, right? J.K. Rowling is a piece of shit. But like the things and the themes, the characters she created have now gone beyond her, right? That's the way I look at it, as right, the way they've been adapted. And for me and Emily, especially for Emily, who loved the books and loved those characters, we were talking about with Kyle, right? Because we were talking about the show. He's like, oh, isn't she canceled? Isn't that a thing done? It's like, yeah, but it's like, it's so hard with that because you can say, oh, make them watch something else. Yeah, true, but like they've read the books with Emily and everything like that, or they've been reading them, but they got the colored ones now. That they helps for the younger ones, and it's just like they were very excited to see this, and they're asking questions. We watched like a 10 things you missed in the trailer. Like it's gonna be very exciting for us to watch with them. Like that's the thing where it's like that's like a great moment. So that's where it's gonna get tricky, and the cast is gonna, which I like. John Lithgow, right? He had that kind of same mindset. Like, man, I'm gonna be asked about. He even said this in an interview. Like, I'm gonna be asked about this all the time, but I came to kind of a conclusion with that, and I go, these characters mean much more to people. And even outright said, like, I don't agree with JK, none of that. And he's like, all that stuff that she talks about is not in these books, so I don't understand the correlation. And he just said, this and paraphrase about like this work affects a lot of other people in a more positive way, and that's what I'm going to take to it, and that's what I'm going to go to with life and also with the kids. Like, we can have fun memories with this, and I just think it's going to be a monster hit because you're going to have so many people that are watching it either like us, where we've watched movies when we were kids, but we're experienced for the first time with them and seeing things which they point out in this video I watched of things that aren't in there in the movies, right? And that's what I want to say. For the little bit of time I was online, I saw, whether it was algorithm or people retweeting or liking it, this show is called Travis Told You. I did that for a fucking reason. It ended up being like a joke because I always used to do it to the boys, but like I said, this is gonna be monster. After Hogwarts Legacy, I thought it'd be monstrous, but still be monstrous. And there's tons of people. Don't get me wrong. There's tons of people still are like, I'm not gonna watch it. I don't know if I believe them all. But even in our Discord, there's people like, hey, I don't know how I feel about this. Might feel like cosplay. Might feel like this. I'm not sure, but I feel a bit more positive on it. Or I'm liking the trailer. This thing, like a lot of people, like, and luckily not the Discord people, but like a lot of people are like, I've never watched this shit. And it's like, well, they got my intrigue. It's like, yeah, like, let them, like, same team that did Succession, like one of the best shows of the decade. Like, let them you know, get some space and actually create the thing and see. And that's what I've never understood the pushback as far as I get it. As far as they've made the movies not that long ago, you're already gonna make it. You're bankrupt, right? But they have the Harry Potter IP. They're not going to sit on it. And guess what? I'm not saying you should have, but like people weren't going to see those fucking Beasts movies, right? The second we gave up on the Beast movies, because a lot of that had to do with quality, but the second we gave up, it's like, okay. So I'm not saying people are wrong, because people are talking on the Discord where it's like, oh, they should have done like a prequel series on Voldemort. Or I've always said like, why did they not do a school series or movies on like Lily, James, and Snape when they were younger, right? But for them, and studios happen all the time, whatever reason, they go, hey, they let's say we put up these movies and let's say they go, we don't want to do prequels anymore, and that might be the answer too. And lots of times that happens, right, where something happens, go, oh, well, this is the problem, this is what happens. Like, no, people didn't just come back as a prequel. These things weren't that well made, these characters weren't that great, your multiple castings of Grindelwald, it was messy, right? But sometimes they go, it failed because it was a prequel. I'm not saying that, but let's say they did that, right? And we saw that with fucking Star Wars, right? Solo came out, bombed. No more Star Wars stories. No more characters done. Like, we're just going to do these and go to Disney Plus, right? So that happens where they take a hit and they right away recluse back in their corner. I think that's what happened. And they took that as like, oh, people aren't going to be there for the prequels. And that could be true, right? There is a group of people that with Star Wars only want Skywalker stuff. I'm not there, but there are people that do. There could be people with Harry Potter that just want the Hogwarts and main cast adjacent, right? And not Grindelwald and even Dumbledore. It's like, I guess, but I don't think he's like, I think he could be people's favorites, but I feel like he's not one that often comes up, right? So let's water break here. So to me, they go, okay, if they sit you down and they say, we're not doing any prequels. Why? It doesn't matter, we're not doing them. Okay. Can you do Chris Child? And the rumor was that they met with that cast and the cast was like, no. We're not doing that. We don't have to. And that's the thing where it's like, a lot of these people, there's not massive names in here, right? You can't blame these kids and whatnot. They're getting a fucking gig, which I feel bad for the kids because I imagine some of them are going to salute some of them, but they're getting a gig. They want to act. They want to be creative. They want to be in the arts. This could look at Radcliffe, look at Grant, look at Emma Watson. Like, that could build their careers for the rest of their lives, right? So it's like, that's a great opportunity for them and many others. So no shade against them, but that was the rumor. The original starts, hey, we're not doing it. Okay. So you're left with two options, right? You're left with, do we just remake? Either you go, there's three options, right? We don't do anything and wait. They're not going to do that because they have the IP. I know people, you might not like it. You go, oh, why would they do that? It's like the Lord of the Rings stuff. They're not going to do it because they want to make fucking money. At the end of the day, it's a business, and we just hope the people making the money have a passion about this and care, right? So no matter what, they're not going to fucking sit on it. That's like, people are just, I don't get why they're doing this. Like, people don't use their fucking brains sometimes with just like this small, and that's why I worry. And it's like people that like are journalists, and sometimes they're speaking rhetorical, but sometimes they're not. And the people that are like journalists and working in that industry, it's just like, you're working in an industry, you don't even fucking get what that, like, how the wheel moves, like it's to make money, right? And that's the thing. So that's where they go, okay, the movies, that could be dumb. That could be, we've done that already. What can we do in the show? And as I've said, I'm sorry if I ran about this before. Again, you're getting Philosopher's Stone, which was what, 2.5 hours to cover an entire book. Now you're getting 8 hours, maybe 8 hours plus if some of those hours, those episodes are longer than an hour, right? You're getting 8 hours. There's already things in these trailers that be like, oh, that was from that. That was from that. And I told them, oh, don't tell me. I haven't read the books. I want to find out new stuff throughout the show. So it's just like, that's where, take out the controversy stuff. If you're not watching because that, that's fine. If you think it's dumb because that's fine. I'm not going to push you against that. I'm just talking just on a pure content basis. It looks well made and well acted and good enough that people are even if it was bad, I think it could do really well, but it looks like there's some care taken into it. And that's where it's just like, again, these movies still exist. You can go back and watch them and look what could happen. What if there's a situation where they make these and then at the end people go, man, these are superior versions because they do this, this, and this. Oh, they fleshed out this. Oh, they did that. There's sometimes I've asked about things in the books like, oh, they explain the books. Well, that would have made it better, right? So it's just kind of bewildering to me. So Mike says, yeah, episode 4 is basically its own filler side quest, but Bruce Campbell voices Satan. Filler side quest, great. A Robert Kirkman special with this and Walking Dead, but yeah, we'll see. And then Lord of the Rings, that came out. No, man. You can join the Discord. Let's see. Order of the Phoenix could be a 22 episode season alone. Well, yeah, that. And I think I can't remember which other book, but I know Emily, every time we get there, Emily's like, they butchered this fucking book, and that's the thing where, and maybe you could do some of those longer, right? With the kids aging, maybe not, but again, it's just like, you just don't watch it. As I talked about for many years, like with now we host the Gimmick and we talk about wrestling all the time. And I watched wrestling my entire life, man. And there was a time where I did feel like a fucking like slave to, like, I gotta watch no matter what because my thing. And I watched the rest of them. Like, I grew with WWE. My family grew with WWE, and I can't remember what it was. I'd have to clock it. I know I suppose might know because I said it many times, but it's whenever certain era. There's about like for 3 or 4 years, I just stopped watching. I didn't tweet about it. I tweet often about it now, but I didn't do anything about it. I just stopped. And that's all it takes is you just don't have to. You just like, so for people, oh, why are they doing this? And because you know why? For everybody that is like myself that has kids and they're have seen the movies, this is going to be someone's first Harry Potter. I guarantee you. And guess what? There'll probably be millions of people that it's their first Harry Potter. And even then maybe they'll see and then go watch the rest of the movies. But that's the thing where it's there, it's money sitting right there, right? And I think a lot of these movies that were books that need to expand on could happen. I said Lord of the Rings, that should happen. Not what we're getting now. Hunt for Gollum, Shadows of the Past. Oh yeah, which is so funny, right? Because you listened to the news class last night. I've seen so many people, and podcaster I listen to that's not Geek First, but just like, yeah, we're getting a Lord of the Rings sequel. So excited they're moving forward, and it's like, oh, I've seen other, we're getting a prequel doing that, going back in the past, and it's like, well, it's this hybrid sort of thing, right? It's not like it's a weird scenario, but it is a prequel sequel. I don't know what's going on with Eleanor and that daughter, but the idea of, okay, they're gonna go back and retrace some of their steps and we get 6 chapters. Sure. Not sure, but it's just like, this feels more like we're mining stuff. It's like, we didn't do 6 chapters. Let's make that into a movie. All right. I guess. Listen, I'm a big Tom Bombadil guy. I bug Kirkland all the time, but it's like, is this needed? And you know what's going to happen? Because they were talking about this on the cast. And because Dylan said, oh, like Elijah Wood's not going to come back. For the flashbacks, I think they're going to come back. And I think that they're going to fucking de-age all these guys, right? And that's what I would be curious, right? So in the same scenario that let's say they sit me down, because I said in the Discord, I would much rather them just do a sequel at this point. And I know that is sacrilege, but guess what? The books are still there. And guess what? There's tons of people that love those books that fucking hate the Jackson movies. The Jackson movies for me are that, but for many people are not the be all end all. If they make those movies, sure, it's in a pocket where you watch, oh, that hurts, that. But then you try to push it aside, right? There's things I do that with Star Wars. When I watch Star Wars, when I hear Obi-Wan and Luke and Yoda talk about Luke in the original trilogy, that he is the last Jedi, that is how I picture it. That is in my mind, and that is what's going on. If you follow canon, there's Ahsoka, there's Ezra, there's Kanan. I don't like any of that shit. That shit was not in the original movie. So sure, when we're talking overall canon, fine. Same thing, rule of 2. But actually, there's about 6 other people that use the Force and have red lightsabers. But they're not Sith. They're not Sith. They're not Sith. But that's the whole thing, right? They tell us the rule of 2 is one master, someone to have the power, one to crave it. What about all these fucking other 7 people hanging around, right? I don't like that stuff. So now when I get older, I go, you know what? That's gone. That's fun to talk about. It's a what if for me. That's gone. If they make Lord of the Rings 4 and it fucking sucks, that's not going to affect the trilogy. Sure, there's some stuff where you might go, oh, that's odd, but and you refer to like, remember when they did that? But really at the end of the time, those movies stand still by themselves, right? So I would be much more to them just growing a set. It's time to get a dick, Travis throwback. I'd much rather them do that than this like pussyfooting around like, well, we didn't do the Hunt for Gollum chapter. Well, we didn't do chapters 3 to 6, right? Now, granted, this is where you sit me down, and me and Taylor were talking about this. You mentioned we were at the gym. That's when SBUB shared the news, and I was trying to, that whole sentence about Eleanor, when it's like an Eleanor will find a secret that showed the War for the Ring could have ended sooner. I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean, right? So, and that's what it sounds like, right? They're gonna, because people are like, no, it's not a sequel at all. It's just a framing device. Not with that Eleanor shit, right? The Sam, Mary, and Pippin thing, that's a framing device. They probably get word, Frodo passes away. They go back to their original adventure, and they do, excuse me, They do de-aging and flashback. You get that. Think about It Chapter 2. If you have seen that, it's the adults, and then for a 25 minute segment of that movie, it goes back to the kids, right? That's what I think they're going to do, but it's going to be reversed as far as the time wise. The Eleanor stuff of finding a secret, all this stuff, maybe that just she asked her dad and that creates the adventure going. But that's where it's like, oh, that sounds a little sequel baity. Wouldn't mind if they did this and it actually did set up as like, we're going to do a sequel now. Like, get Viggo Morrison as an old king, get some of these people back. But if they don't, and maybe this is the thing I was talking with Taylor, maybe they can't. Because remember with Rings of Power and the Similarian and everything like that, I think Similarian? Yeah, Similarian. I think that's how you pronounce it. Amazon has that, so they can't touch any of that, right? So maybe there's a fact where there's something in a contract where you can adapt these books, but you can't adapt, like you can't go making your own story. You can't be doing stuff, right? Because even then there was some work that Tolkien did of sequels. Then they didn't go through with them. Maybe they say, hey, that's you got to be bought separately, right? I don't know how that works. So if they're doing this like flashback thing and then as a framing device and even Eleanor finding a secret, to me, I feel like wouldn't they still be legally allowed to go, hey, we're going to make a sequel to our movie and not your books? Right? Like the same way Rings of Power happens before the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, but it doesn't happen before the Peter Jackson movies, right? So I feel like you could do that. I would rather them do that, or even if this is set up, great. But maybe they're not allowed to do a full-on sequel. This sounds a little bit silly. This sounds way more. Both of them are cash grab to me, but this feels way more cash grabby than the Harry Potter stuff, because the Harry Potter stuff is at least okay. There's many things we had to leave out of these books because of time wise. Let's do that here. Where these movies is just like, sure, there's some great chapters there, but it's like a whole like a movie based upon these. Like same thing, Hunt for Gollum. Like the things they changed in the books just doesn't really work either, right? So I don't know, man. I really don't know. And then we got this Miami Vice news, man. I'll quickly just talk about that while I pull up the polls. But man, it's interesting, right? So we had these people have been locked down where it's Austin Butler and Michael B. Jordan. We thought they were locked down, but it came out they're not locked down, right? And then before that, it was getting really hyped because like, oh, Austin Butler, Michael B. Jordan. And then it was, oh, yeah, I thought you bastards. I was just seeing if anything changed. And no, it did not. What was I gonna say? We had those two, and then the rumor of Cruise being the bad guy, right? And then after the Oscars came out that hey, Michael B. Jordan's not locked, and hey, he may want more money, and it's like, oh boy. So he has every right to. He won the Oscar, big win coming off of that. I like that pairing we've talked about before. I think it'd be very fun. More than the pairing, though, if you were to ask me, I'm not going to do a whole rigmarole. Cruise is a villain. Fucking come on. If you say, hey, if we could log Austin Butler, Michael B. Jordan, or Cruise, it's Cruise every day. Because Cruise, to see him in a movie where he's not maybe doing crazy ass stunts would be great again. To see him doing some, and he does do great acting, Mission Impossible, but like pure just acting in, more like he was doing Top Gun again, which even still is action. That'd be great. And for me, if you're a long-term listener, you know that my favorite performance of his is Collateral. He is amazing in that. He's charismatic, he's funny, and he's scary as fuck, man. The jazz club scene, right there. Right fucking there, man. If you know the movie, or if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, watch Collateral this week. So that's why, and again, it was just in talks or ideas, and it sounds like they want to lock the other two down. But that could be a thing where I wonder if this rumor came out because like Michael B might not be locked, so it's like they could put some of that movie towards Cruise. I don't know. If they get all three of them, that's going to be expensive because Cruise isn't cheap. The Michael B rumor is like 18 million. That's not cheap. You're going to be looking at like a 50 to 60 million movie before they even roll cameras, which is like, again, Kaczynski, Top Gun, F1, he's on a roll. Can they do that Miami Vice? I know Butler, Jordan, and Cruise is a great trio. That's a great way to build the movie and maybe get that going. But I don't think it's like a lock or guarantee that's a hit. Like that's, I don't know that like I just with someone else with Emily with action movies and rom-coms, it's like few and far in between of what is a box office blow up, right? Like what really works out. Like what action movies, you got John Wick, comedy, like romantic comedy, had like Anyone But You recently, but like you can name just a few. There's more bombs because I feel like those go to the streamers a lot. Amazon, Netflix, they took the place of the action and the rom-coms, right? So that's the same thing. This same thing as Michael B when he's doing Thomas Crown Affair. It's like, I don't know what that's gonna do in this day and age, right? Like I'm not saying the movie quality, just like financially, right? So if you're already getting a movie that's, I imagine with Krasinski too, it's going to look good. It's going to be big scope. I feel like it's minimum 100 million. And that's, I'm saying minimum to be nice because there's other actors, stunts, things like that. So that's $1 million. Like, and then what? You need about 200, but really 300 million to make a profit, right? Because you got a production. Because I just go by what Affleck says now. He says nowadays you got to make 3 times your budget to make a profit, right? And that's, you got to think about. You got to do the marketing budget, got to pay that back, and then the theaters get half. So that's why you really got to make like 3 times that budget. Can it make 300 million? Possibly. I could also just see making like 150 or 100. Like I don't know, right? So, it's interesting. So, okay. Let's see. So we did this finally. I want to thank everybody. And you know what? We're going to go all the way back to the beginning and round this off. I'm going to make you guys wait a little longer for those results here. Let's do here. And just to go through the journey, right, of what happened here with the best actor. Where is it here? Where is round 3? Oh, give me 1 second. I got to find all these fucking forms. So there's round 3. Yeah, there we go. There's the semifinal. So we'll go all the way back to the beginning. There we go. Okay, so if people don't know, the Best Actor March Madness Tournament, I've been talking about doing this for years, and I'm happy we finally got around to doing it. This was a very good time. I think everyone that voted took time the other day to do this. Let's see here, because I thought it was 5 rounds. So I got 1. I'm missing round 2. Give me 1 second. But yeah, so we took 32 actors. I decided on a list. I took some, obviously, some people's submissions as well. But I created the list, and it was for the best 10, for the best actor currently. So for the past 10 years of their body of work. And to base a typo on that, also I can't track if people actually do that. But that's what we do. So okay, that's what I want as the curriculum there. Say, hey, last thing, because it's the current day actor, right? So here we go. So round 1, we had Michael Fassbender versus Viola Davis. Fassbender took that. Rebecca Ferguson versus Timothée Chalamet. Timothée Chalamet took that. Adam Driver versus Emma Stone. Emma Stone took that. Oscar Isaac versus William Dafoe. William Dafoe took that. Hugh Jackman versus Victoria Pedretti. Hugh Jackman took that. Joaquin versus Michael B. Very close, but Michael B. took that. Jennifer Lawrence versus Cillian Murphy. Cillian took that. Mads Mikkelsen versus Mahershala Ali, another close one. Mahershala Ali took that. Christian Bale versus Barry Keoghan. Bale took that. Qualley versus Jacob Elordi. Jacob Elordi took that. Mikey Madsen versus Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh took that. Robert Pattinson versus Margot Robbie. Who took that? Robert Pattinson took that. Coleman Domingo versus Zendaya. Zendaya took that. Kate Blanchett versus Lashana Lynch. Kate Blanchett took that. Anya Taylor-Joy versus Saoirse Ronan. Taylor-Joy took that. And then Lupita versus Leo. Leo took that. Okay. Round 2 was Michael Fassbender versus Timmy. Timmy took that. Emma Stone versus William Dafoe. Emma Stone took that. Hugh Jackman versus Michael B. Fassbender. Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan took that. Cillian Murphy versus Mahershala Ali. Cillian Murphy took that. Florence Pugh versus Robert Pattinson. Florence Pugh took that. Zendaya versus Kate Blanchett. Zendaya took that. Anya Taylor-Joy versus Leo. Leo took that. And then Christian Bale versus Jacob Elordi. Bale took that. Round 3. Timothée Chalamet versus Emma Stone. Timothée Chalamet took that. Michael B. Jordan versus Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy took that. Florence Pugh versus Zendaya. Florence Pugh took that. Leo versus Christian Bale. Leo took that. The semifinals. Timothée Chalamet, and these were the rule tiebreakers. Timothée Chalamet, Cillian Murphy, 50%. Both of them. I gave my power to Timmy. And then Florence Pugh versus Leo, 50%. Gave my vote to Florence Pugh because, again, with both Timothy and Florence, I thought they had more variety going for the last decade. So your finals were Timothée Chalamet versus Florence Pugh. It was close. I checked just to make sure no other votes come in. They did. They went to the other person. Where is it here? Oh my God, where is it? Okay. Your winner The Golden Geeks, Best Actor, March Madness of the current day actor. That drum roll went a lot faster than I thought. 57 to 42%. And I did not vote in this. I would have voted if there was a tiebreaker. There was a tiebreaker for a little while, but then the past couple days, maybe it didn't leave open. Who knows? But I'm fine because the person that I would have voted on won anyways. 57% goes towards Florence fucking Pugh, the winner of the Best Actor. Did I say Golden Geeks? Geek First, Travis told you, March Madness. First ever poll is going to Florence Pugh over Timothy Chalamet. 57 to 42%. Beginning went back and forth, and then they were tied for a bit, and then some voting. I'm happy with this. Again, I still said my number one. I deemed Emma Stone, but I've said for years. Even then, I remember when she got cast as Yelena, and I said to Brent, it's when I was on Marvel Alliance. I think it was a 3-man thing, and I said, "Oh, this is great because she one of, if not the best actors in the world." And like Blueprint away, they say, "Oh, really?" Because he didn't know Pugh at that time, right? And I still many times went back and forth of if I would knight her that. And obviously I haven't. But if you were to say, hey, sit Emma Stone down, let's say she's retired, who is it now? Florence Pugh's likely number 2. We talked about like Pugh, Defoe, killing it. Like a lot of those finals, those were people that I'd have up there, right? And Pugh is easily somebody that I could make a case for. Especially too, like I Dune's coming up, and I know what is it? I know Avengers. I really hope in the next little bit she does some. Mike says, "Hell yeah, justice done." There you go. Were you worried? What were you worried? Yeah, I really hope she gets back to doing some. And not if I need Yelena killed off, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. I would love her to get back to doing some like working with Ari Aster again, or working with Scorsese or Nolan, or some more weirdo like Sean Baker, like get some A24 stuff going on. And I guess she did that last year, right, with Garfield. That is an A24 movie, but it's not like a. It is a good drama, I guess. I can't say that. I guess I just wanted some more weird stuff, right, in that type of scope. And she did just work with Nolan. Fuck. I'm wrong. No, I'm wrong. That's why she won. That's why she won. She did Oppenheimer, and then it's like, oh, she always does Avengers. Then she's in Dune, and then she's doing whatever. Our Lives Are Forgotten. What was that Andrew Garfield movie? What the hell was that? Florence Pugh. Let's see, Lives. Oh God, Andrew Garfield. What was it called? We Live in a Time. Fucking forgettable last one, but she became the only relevant new MCU character by charisma alone. Up. Okay, yeah, I guess so in that sense. I get what you're saying now, because I say obviously lots of people had charisma, but yeah, no, I could see that, right? Because she kind of got, because you could make that case for Haley Steinfeld or God, who's Dylan's friend there, Amon Villani. But yeah, you're right. She definitely got elevated to the sense that she's in all of these projects and the main character. So I agree, and also like you could argue Kate Bishop and sometimes in Miss Marvel's characters had some better writing, right? Where it feels like Florence Pugh there's some decent writing, but she's doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. So very excited. You know, we created the hashtag Pew Boy. Well, Pew Boys for life, ladies and gentlemen, because now the goal, thanks to all you patrons, the GV certified best actor of the decade, the best current day actor, which I can say this, the GV certified best actor in the world right now is Florence Pugh. And yeah, thank you everyone who voted. This was fun. This was a good evergreen topic to have throughout, and it's evergreen for a while. I won't be doing this for a little bit, but yeah, if you like this, I wouldn't do this all the time because the poll can take up some time, especially too. I feel like we're gonna get a lot of news with the schedule now. Obviously, Taylor and Dylan did a weekly geek. Weekly geek is gonna go, I won't say on like a hiatus. I think there's one more left, because what we usually do, if people haven't figured it out, is obviously it's all of us trading off, right? So it's like a me and Taylor, Dylan Kirkland, then me and Kirkland, and we always do a rotation. Obviously, some things get delayed or moved around, but it's like we have the team names, and we shuffle those around, we schedule them all out, and then when that's done, we start the run over. Taylor and Kirkland have one in April, and then that type of cycle is done. And then after that, Weekly Geek might be done for a little bit. It's not that we're not happy with it. The numbers are great. Like the last Weekly Geeks, our biggest episode this month that me and Kirkland did. It's just that look at these schedules: Euphoria, The Boys, and then it's like Mortal Kombat 2, Mandalorian and Grogu, Daredevil, Punisher special. It's gonna be, and then like in May, there's like Lego Batman and 007 First Light and Spider Noir. A lot of those like 2-man casts are gonna be dedicated, or 2-person casts, but I guess we are just all man, are gonna be dedicated to the news and stuff. So I think what you'll get more is more the GV4s, because usually the idea is, okay, movie comes out to give people a break. It's like we'll do Weekly Geek, right? Where now, like The Boys, that's just me and Taylor. House of Dragon, we can switch off with the 3. The Marvel stuff, Daredevil, we can switch off with the 4, right? So if someone needs a break, they can take it. So that's where Weekly Geek, it'll probably come back maybe in like August, because like right now, starting April to about middle of August, it's gonna be really busy. So that's kind of what's gonna be happening now. So there's gonna be one more Weekly Geek with those 2 boys, and then after that, it's gonna be 4-man episodes, or us just like breaking apart doing that. So yeah, Mike, you did pitch directors. Yeah, I might probably next year. Yeah, what do I do? I probably, not that I'm not liking the idea, Mike. I do, and it would be my vote. I think what I would do though, because we always like to try and add stuff to the Patreon polls and whatnot, I would probably put it up to a vote. My personal vote would be directors, and again, I wanted to do current day directors, like last 10 years, like who's the best working director today. I guess the tough thing is, like, I'd love to see the whole list. I just wonder if, is it just like a given it's going to come down to Nolan and Denis, but I guess even then, like, who would win, because there's a lot of people that prefer Denis, right? But I think next year I would do that, because I think we talked about like horror film. There was like, we talked about horror films, talked about that. We talked about another one too that was like, oh, that'd be fun to put in there, right? So yeah, I think directors is a really good one. So yeah, next year, I think every March we'll do that. So yeah, thank you to everyone tuning in. I will be back Monday. If I'm live, that's a TBD. I think I will be live. I think so. That'll be back to the only hour thing. And then of course, and this is what always happens, right? Probably because it's Friday and I didn't announce it, but it's like a day where I'm like, hey, anybody that's not a patron or wants to send super chats, you can throw in a comment. And then, it's just, small comments from people that are usually watching. And then the days where like I'm live, I'm like, hey, I only got an hour, 45 minutes. I got to grip and rip it. That's what's like, oh, question there, question there. It's like, oh man, you can never win. But I thank everybody in the chat that did join. Thank everyone that listened after the fact. Very fun episode. I'll be back on the Monday. And then next week is Mario review and Daredevil episode 2 to 3, a newscast. And I promise when you hear from us next, it'll not be boring. Have a good weekend.